Hello and welcome to Divorced Women Creating Peace. I am your host, Velma Gallant, and I'm super excited to have you all here today. I have a wonderful guest to share with you today, and I'm just getting myself organized. I should have had this ready beforehand, so the guest that I have for you today is Renée Suzanne. And as you know, I'm bringing divorced women who have created amazing lives after their divorce. And Renée is no exception to this. Renée helps women over 40 start dating better men immediately so they can meet and marry the man of their dreams. She is the creator of the courted method, a process that helps women date in order to create the lasting connection that they really want. Renée is the author of Beloved, how to go from relationship challenge to relationship ready, and 10 things that you can do to upgrade your love life. When she's not helping women find true love, you can find her out ballroom dancing with her husband or walking her dog on the trails near her home in Chicagoland. Welcome to the show, Suzanne.
Thank you so much. I'm so delighted to be here.
I'm super excited to have you here as well. And where are we? There we are. So I always start out with the same question because I think it has a lot of value, and then we'll continue the conversation off of after that. And that question is, I know I sent it to you ahead of time to give you some time to think about it. What was your most valuable lesson from your divorce, and what made that so valuable for you?
Thank you. And I'm so glad you sent it to me ahead of time because it had some time to marinate. So my divorce was many, many years ago. I got divorced in, oh my goodness, I got divorced in 1990. And I was only 21 years old with 4 children already because I got married super young. I was a super young mom, and everyone was like, don't divorce him. He has a job, you know. This is what was going on back then. And I was, I dropped out of high school. I married him to escape a bad home life. I had 4 children, super young, and I got my GED, but I really had not much going on. I was 21 years old with a GED and 4 kids, and not even the ability to earn enough money to pay for daycare, let alone a sustainable living. And everybody thought, like, girl, you have lost your mind. He has a job. You need to stay married. Figure this out. But I had tried everything I could to figure out how to be married. Of course, I didn't want to divorce the father of my 4 children. And it was a very, very difficult decision. And I was such a young person, and I didn't feel like I really had anyone on my side who really knew what I was going through or could help me or support me. I did not have resources, financial or any other, like even anyone really who had my back. I was just this young mom with these 4 kids, and my husband, who was all of my 4 children's father, he did love the kids, and he was a good man, and he did have a job, but he just had problems controlling his temper. And I was concerned that he was hurting the kids. And I was like, oh my God, he has problems controlling his temper. He hurts the children at times. This is not what any mom would sign her children up for. But I had this whole thing, like, is it responsible to let someone hurt your children? But is it responsible to put them in harm's way? And maybe we'll starve. Maybe we'll be homeless. Maybe those were real things that I thought could happen to me, and they could have. They really could have. And my final solution on that, as I struggled with that question, was there's dignity in trying to help your children avoid being harmed. There's really, I didn't think in my mind, and everyone has different opinions about what their risk tolerance is and what they are up against. And it's a very personal decision. But I did I felt like it was worth that risk rather than knowingly subject my children to being harmed. And
Absolutely.
so I chose that. I chose to risk that, you know what, maybe we won't be able to pay the mortgage. Maybe we won't be able to pay the utilities. Maybe maybe we won't be able to figure this out, but at least I did my best. At least I didn't sit there and let someone hurt them.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I think that your story is so valuable. I mean, I know you were 21 with 4 children, but there are a lot of women um, who are a little bit more mature age-wise than that are facing the same things right now. That they have their children and they have those people talking and saying, but he's financially secure. If you're leaving that, you're leaving financial security. And I get that perspective. I absolutely do. But I agree with you in this is just my opinion as well. I love the way you phrased it, of it being, at least you knew it was a dignity decision, right? That this is moving into the unknown was far better than staying in the known of abuse.
Yeah, and I was terrified that I was very scared. It was very, very scary, but I knew what I was leaving was a sure thing
Mm-hmm.
in a way that I did not feel that it was worth putting them in harm's way for. And I knew that I was willing to do everything I could to make sure that we were provided for. And he was a good provider. He always paid the child support. I mean, I didn't know at the time what was going to happen. I was just scared, but
Mm-hmm.
it did work out okay. I was able to go to college. I was very fortunate. I was able to go to college. I earned a degree in finance. I got a merit scholarship. I worked my butt off to do as well as I could in school. I was a janitor, and I mean, I just did everything I could to make sure that we were taken care of, and it did work out. Thank God. I didn't know for sure that it would,
But
but I
that
knew
is the reality of life.
I knew I
You
had
know,
to
when
try.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is the reality of life. We don't know what is ahead of us on the road. We have no idea. Even when we're feeling confident, the truth is we don't know what's in front of us.
Yeah.
Right. And I love that you're sharing the tenacity that you brought into this, taking on the janitor jobs, going for your degree. I think that what the beauty that you shared with your children was that an unknown, while it is not exactly safe, is better than staying in the known unsafe. That how they were being treated, how you were being treated, was not okay. Because I think that's the thing that a lot of women end up fighting with inside of themselves is, what am I teaching my children if I stay? I mean, and I think a lot of women don't end up asking that question, but it's, what am I teaching them if I stay? What am I teaching them if I go? And I think that by making the choice that you made, you taught your 4 children some amazing lessons about boundaries, what's okay, and how you can um, make it work. How you, like, the tenacity and the drive, and, well, I can go for it, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
And I thought even if I failed, there was dignity in trying. There was no dignity in
Mhm.
just saying, well, he has a job, so it's okay if he hits us.
Yeah,
There's no dignity in that. There's no dignity. There's no dignity in that. That
I
is how
love
I
that.
felt.
I love that a lot. I know as I was transitioning out of my high conflict divorce, my mantra was strength, grace, and dignity. So I connect to that very deeply.
Yeah.
So fast forward, you've done the hard work of, taking the janitor job. You were blessed that your ex-partner did follow through with his commitments with respect to providing, which is absolutely wonderful. You got your college degree, so your kids saw you moving forward, making choices for your future. How did you end up in the work that you're doing now?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, it was honestly, it did end up being a very excellent choice. We were very effective co-parents.
Mm-hmm.
He was a good man. He just really there just were some struggles in the whole parenting aspect, but
Mm-hmm.
we were very effective co-parents, and the distance that the divorce and the everything provided really did make us very effective co-parents and very good friends. And 6 years after that divorce, he unfortunately passed away. And then at that time, I was a 28-year-old. I was a single mom before, but I had a co-parent. And then I was really on my own with these 4 kids. And that was a whole new chapter because, no matter what your parenting arrangement is, if you still have a living other biological parent, there is a possibility of someone being able to assist you or something being able to work out. And when
Mm-hmm.
the other parent passes away, that is no longer happening at all. So that was like kind of from the frying pan into the fire. And I still had a few months left to go before I got my degree. So I just put my head down. I worked really hard. I had a job as this was like in 1996. So I had a job at the Board of Trade as a runner for like $7 an hour. And I'm like cobbling things together and trying to just get through the last few months of college, and made it work. But I was exhausted. I was so tired. And all I could think about is like, how can I how can I finish college? How can I get the corporate job that I went to school to get, make sure the kids get their insurance in the US. Insurance wasn't a thing yet. Like you had to have the job, the 9 to 5 and all of that. So I was trying
Mm-hmm.
to get that so that I could get the insurance and get my kids taken care of. And then gosh, all I did was work, try to finish school, take care of the kids. I had these grieving children,
Mm.
you know. And a few years later, I was like, oh, it'd be nice to find someone to be with, to share my life with. I'm glad, the kids and I are okay. I have a decent job. Day-to-day survival is not a problem anymore. I have a job, I'm paying the bills, we have insurance, we have a house, all the things. But gosh, it'd sure be nice to have a companion. And I wanted to find love. And that was not easy as a single mom with 4 kids who worked all the time. I had the very demanding jobs. I had jobs in finance. I was like a full-on cubicle dweller, 50 plus hours a week. Then I came
Mm-hmm.
home to 4 kids, a dog, a single family home, and all the responsibilities that entailed. And I was a very young mom. I was in, by this time, my early 30s. And guys my age were like, you gotta be kidding.
Well, and I get that because their thoughts would be instant family,
Right. Yeah,
right?
which we were. We for sure were. And so my dating life was a complete disaster. It was absolutely horrible. So, all I did was work, do the kid
Mm-hmm.
thing, do the house thing. And then on the rare occasions that I had a date and I had to tell him I had the kids, he was like, peace out. And I was just devastated. And these were some very, very hard and lonesome years for me. And this was back in the early 2000s. So I just wanted to figure this out. This was like the defining problem of my life. Now that I had figured out we I had the degree, I had the job, I had
Mm-hmm.
you know, we had a decent middle class life, which was a huge achievement. Very
Huge.
big. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, now I'd like to get the dating part figured out. And it was not easy. Like the other part wasn't easy either, but at least I kind of knew what to do. It was like, here's how you get a college degree. You take these classes, you graduate, you put together a resume, you go on interviews, someone hires you, you go to work, you do what they tell you, they pay you, you know.
Right.
Okay. But dating, oh my God, who I had no idea. So I used to, this was my social life back then. I would go to the bookstore on Saturday nights and gorge on self-help books. And and sometimes I would buy them, sometimes I would check them out of the library, sometimes I would just sit at the bookstore and speed read them. But I wanted to get as much information as I could about dating because I was clearly not handling this part of my life in any such way as to be able to be successful. And the years just passed so quickly. And one day I woke up and I was 40 and I was an empty nester and I was still single. So then I really was earnestly trying to figure this out because at first I thought, oh, well, I'll figure it out. The kids will get older. I work all the time anyway. And what are you going to do? And the kids come first, and I have to work my job, right? And I just thought it would just happen. And I did what I could to try to figure it out. I
Mm-hmm.
read all the stuff, but it didn't happen. And then I didn't have the kids anymore either. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Now I don't have the kids occupying so much time. So these huge blocks of time, right? I would get off of work. I actually didn't have such a demanding job at the time anymore. I had graduated to this job that was only 40 hours a week. And I was like, this is amazing. So I moved to the city and it was a 15-minute walk to work. And I would come home at the end of the day and think, well, now what do I do? It's like 7 hours till bedtime or something. Like, what do I do? The kids are gone and I still don't have a person. So I really was like, I've got to figure out this dating thing. So I made
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of friends and I did all the city thing, and the dating thing was still a disaster. So I upgraded to workshops and teleclasses, and I eventually did work with some life coaches because by this time life coaching was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I really learned that I had developed some habits that had unwittingly kept me alone, and some ways of relating to people. It wasn't bad, it wasn't wrong. It was just horribly ineffective when it came to dating. And when I worked with a couple different life coaches and unwound that, I just knew I was really onto something. So I decided that that was going to be my next career. I was over the corporate thing and spending 40 hours plus
Mm-hmm.
a week of my life in a cubicle anyway. And I decided that now that I didn't have the kids anymore and I didn't really need to do all the things, that I could do something that wasn't just about providing for my family, but was more about giving back. So that's how I ended up
Mm.
becoming a love coach and helping women with dating, because I wanted that help so much that I learned everything that I could. And I saw how effective it was by working with other
Right.
people who were in that line of work. And it really did work for me. And that's what I wanted to offer.
I love that. I love that. And it is really beautiful to see the journey that you went through, because I am a firm believer that none of us experience what we experience for no reason at all. I really believe that with every fiber of our being, that we do not experience these different challenges, because I'm going to call it what they are. They are challenges.
Oh, yeah.
that we don't experience them for no reason at all. And to see the beauty of, raising 4 kids effectively on your own, because like you said, after a period of time, your ex-husband passed away. And so now you're raising kids on your own, plus supporting them with mourning. You took that and transformed it into something absolutely amazing, that your children were able to grow up and, become an empty nester. And, you look at your life and it's a success. By all standards, that's a success. And you still took that and took it to the next level of transformation, and found love, and decided that was how you get to take what occurred for you and turn it into something that is a real gift to others, to take the gift of the experiences and turn it into something. I think it's really lovely to see that progression, and to see the way that you're out there helping women who are just like you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do what I would have wanted help with when I was in that situation. And I wish I had known someone like me who could have really shown me the ropes, because and I'm going to be writing about this in my blog, but like my 10 worst dating stories, and like they're so cringeworthy, the things that I would do. And I was like, why didn't anyone talk sense to me? Like I mean, I meant well and I was doing my best, but God, I had no freaking idea.
Oh,
And
so these are more of the stories of the things that you did versus the things that we experienced as cringeworthy.
yeah,
Okay.
I did some cringeworthy things. I did. You would read these and you would be like, she got married? Like, no, I'm not kidding. Like,
I
yeah,
like that.
but I remember being like, I just didn't know. I just didn't know. I didn't
Mhm.
know. I had no idea how to handle myself in the dating world. I got married as a young teenager, really. No idea.
And that's the thing. Like, I had a conversation with one of my friends recently, and it's like, yeah, we the world is different, right? And I get that the world is different. So we're dealing with different experience. We didn't have social media back then.
Right. No
We
apps,
didn't have a lot of the
no
things.
online dating. And we were just kids. I mean, most people, when they enter a marriage and they stay for any length of time and have children, and they're coming out and into a completely different dating environment,
Completely different world and completely different self.
completely different self. Yes, because, and especially if even if you haven't had children, you've been married, you've been in a relationship for that long, and then if you have children, then you're parenting or co-parenting, or
Mhm.
there's a lot more to navigate.
There is. So if you were to give, like, one really important thing for our ladies to consider as they're looking towards dating, what's one thing that we should be should be doing? Should we be doing something for ourselves? Should we be doing something so far as the direction we're looking for dating? Where should we start?
The first thing I do with everyone is, please clarify your relationship goals and the person that you are looking for, because so many, and you know what, men don't do this. And that's why my message is to women. I work with women because I feel like men inherently get this dialed in, because men are socialized to go for the things they want and women aren't. And that's why I am so
Mm.
passionate about helping women get what they want. Because if you don't, here's how most women show up to the dating world: like, oh, I hope someone likes me. And maybe if he likes me enough, he'll give me what I want, or maybe give me something that's close to what I want, or maybe I can want a little less. And if he likes me enough, like, no,
Mhm.
want what you want. Do you want to get married? Do you want the love of your life? Do you want the whatever it is you want? You have every right to want it. And you can find someone who wants that thing. Don't water down your desires for anyone. You
Ooh, I
deserve to
like
have
that.
what you want. And it took me so long just to freaking admit that I wanted to be married.
Mm-hmm.
So afraid to want to be married. I was so afraid. Oh, well, if he doesn't want to get married, I guess it's okay. Maybe we could just live together. No, I wanted to get married to the love of my life. I wanted a wedding and a big freaking white dress because I didn't get that the first time. I wanted so many things that I was just afraid to want because maybe that was asking too much. No, want what you want. There's a man who would love to give it to you, but you got to have enough confidence to want it. And I had these
Mm-hmm.
wonderful dating conversations with my husband who had his own dating journey. And I deal with women all the time who are like, maybe it's not meant to be. Maybe I'm too old. Maybe I'm too successful. Maybe I'm not successful enough. Maybe I have too many kids. Maybe like my time has passed, whatever. Men don't do that. Men are like, oh, I'll get what I want sooner or later. I'm just going to keep going for it.
Right, right. There's so much juicy stuff in there. I mean, when you said it's okay to want what you want, I
Yes.
really love that. Don't water down your desires. I think that one is really important because I know um, women are for the most part, not always and not for everyone, but for the most part, we are um, trained or conditioned to be caregivers. And so we're always looking to other people's desires and finding a way to give them those and not so focused on ourselves. The other thing that you said was afraid that some of us are afraid to want and that we're asking too much. And again, I think that points again to outward focus rather than focusing on ourselves. And yeah, those were the little notes that I wrote down while you were sharing there, because I think those are really important. I really loved don't water down your desires. I think that one's really important.
Yeah, your desires, everybody's desires, I feel like are like little gifts, like little homework assignments from the universe saying, hey, you
Mm.
want this thing? Go get it. Go do your darndest to go get this thing. And when you do, you make the world a better place for you and everyone who loves you and everyone who's watching. Maybe there's a woman who doesn't quite have the confidence to go for that thing yet, but she sees you going for yours and she's like, oh, maybe I can have it too. Maybe,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I
Well,
can. Yeah.
and that is kind of the philosophy behind this show, right? Is if there's a woman out there who's finished a divorce, going through her divorce, and is looking forward and doesn't know what to look forward to, hasn't created that vision, hasn't clarified what her future is for herself, then seeing these ladies like yourself on here who've made it through the journey and made those choices, clarified where they were going to be going, learned what they learned, and are out here sharing the amazingness of their journey, that they get to see what's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And it is possible because I could have just hid back in 1990 and said, oh, he has a job.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And what would you have been teaching your children? What would you have accepted for yourself? All of those things. And again, seeing the tenacity and the choices that you made going forward with respect to your career, making sure that you were providing for your children as best that you could. And then once they were done, it's like, okay, what about me?
Mm-hmm.
What about me? And again, I think that's so important for us as the ones who are moms, because I know not every divorced woman is a mom, but I think in this particular circumstance, it's really important to point out that there comes a point where our responsibility to our children scales back. And then that is so important for us to take on that responsibility for ourselves, because again, we are still teaching with
And
everything that we do.
yes. And if I may, I would say I'm not big on regrets. But the one thing I would do if I had to do it again is I would have been a little nicer to me and not, you don't have to put your children first all the time. This whole kids first thing, I gotta say, should you put your kids first? Like if you're getting them out of a burning building or if they're starving or something, absolutely. But this whole kids first forever till they're like 25 or something, don't do that. You deserve more than that.
I think it does, like you say, it requires a balanced approach, because
Yeah,
again, it's still teaching, because then what we're doing is we're teaching our children that your children, other people come before you. You always put others before you. And I think that's not the best lesson that we want to teach.
exactly.
We want
Especially
to
to our
teach the
female,
balance.
well, even to our male children. We don't want to teach
Mhm.
our sons that their wives should put themselves in like, no. And I'm not, and I know that there was a time for this back in the day when we were cavemen and women and we had to make sure the next generation survived and that sort of thing. But I don't believe that it is always necessary to put our children first every single freaking time for everything. Because again, to teach that they always come first to our own detriment, as
Yes.
especially as women. Do we want to teach our daughters to do that? Do we want to teach our sons to treat their wives and their daughters that way? I don't know. I'm thinking maybe not.
I would agree with you. I think again, it's the balanced approach. We do
Yeah.
want to take care of our children, but we want them to see us taking care of ourselves. I know that was something that was
Yes.
really important to me as I was going through my divorce. I let my son see me hurt. I let him see me hurt because I wanted him to see me grow stronger, heal, and move forward, because I wanted him to know that, because stuff's going to happen to him too. And I want him to know that it's okay to feel what he feels, because he is going to heal.
I love that. I do love that you showed him that. Yeah.
So, well, we have reached the end of our time. This went super fast. I loved the
Good.
conversation. I want to make sure that our listeners, our people on YouTube and inside of the Facebook group know where to find you. So I'm going to put this up on the screen. But the website that you can go to connect with Renee is Renee with 2 E's, Suzanne, SUZANNE, coaching.com. RENESUZANNE, and yes, I'm Canadian, so I said Z.
Love it. You're keeping it real, making sure we all are paying attention.
Absolutely. So there's that website. And for those of you who are out in YouTube listening to the podcast, come on over to Facebook and search down Divorced Women Creating Peace. We'd love to have you in the community. We are a supportive, loving community, lifting each other up. This is not a complaint zone. This is a loving place for you to be able to move forward through your divorce. And if you're already through it, come and support the other women. We'd love to have you. Thanks so much for coming, Renee. I really love this conversation, and I love what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
And we will see you next time on Divorced Women Creating Peace. Come join us. We'd love to have you. Have a great day.